to On a Journey with Giselle. Y'all, I am so excited. I am your host, Giselle, and we are here on this journey together. We are in a new month. And if you're new to the show, welcome. Thank you so much for clicking that link where we talk about and we are a community of embracing each other's journeys. I have different subjects on this series where we talk about wellness and fitness. I haven't gotten into the fitness, y'all, but it's coming. Stay tuned. But today on the show, we're going to branch into a new series of talk. Last month, we talked about love. And I kind of want to continue it, but I want to talk about how we can progress in this last month of the third quarter. Yes, y'all, we've made it there. We've already made it to the last month of the third quarter. It is March. And you know what that means? Spring is coming. So we're going to talk about on this series of, daylight savings, spring forward. We're going to talk about empowerment. How can you give yourself grace? And y'all, if you didn't know, I'm going to tell you, we are almost at G and Gab month. So we're going to just be reflecting to 30. I'm about to hit 30. What does that mean for me? What does that look like? What has my 20s been? Some lessons I learned, some things that I look forward to. So this is just a forward movement. We're going to still talk about love in a sense, but I want to kind of move forward and talk about moving forward. Okay. So, I'm always saying you define your destiny, right? And I believe that. But what defines your destiny? How do you define it? And today on the show, we're going to be talking about the word empowerment. What does that mean? What does that look like? So I'm going to be sharing some stories about empowerment. I'm going to be sharing, giving examples of how you could continue with those goals and habits that you set for yourself at the top of the year or even in December, and how you can keep moving forward and becoming your best self in 2024. So let's dive into the show, okay? Before we do that, though, I want to just let you know that, as I'm progressing on this podcast journey, I am introducing a new segment. So you will see a cutout, and I'm not even going to tell you what that segment is. You need to see it, okay? So stay tuned. That segment is going to be coming, and that's something that I want to implement within the next episodes coming, because it's important. And I want you to take time to, incorporate that into your daily life as well. All right, so let's get into the show. We're talking about the word empowerment. It's a big word for me because I feel that, and I believe truly that everybody should be empowered. Everybody has a right to be empowered. That word is so used so heavily, but do you really know what it means? And I really want to dive deep into what that means. So what's better to do that than go straight to the source? Go to the dictionary. It's factual. I always read the dictionary as a child. So I wanted to share with you all the definition. I'm going to read Webster's definition of empower. And that means to give official authority or legal power. Another definition for empower is to promote the self-actualization or influence of. Those are the two definitions. And, though we can, give authority to people, and legal power to, I really don't want to use that word in this context, that definition in this context. I more so want to use the definition where it says to promote the self-actualization or influence of. Okay. So, what does that mean, Giselle? How am I going to apply that to my life? My habits, I'm kind of slipping, it's getting kind of hard, like keeping up with my eating habits, keeping up with my, these goals I set for myself. My life is lifing me right now. How do I do that? Like, how do I do that? How can I empower myself to keep going? So the first tip that I have for you to keep doing that, to influence yourself, to keep moving forward, to keep staying close to the goals that you set for yourself, is to simply give yourself grace. Give yourself grace. Give yourself the understanding to say, I'm not there today. It's not, I didn't do that. I messed up. I definitely slipped. People set goals. I'm not going to watch. I'll tell you mine. I'm not going to tell you anybody else's. I'll tell you mine where I have slipped. So I did a cleanse of 21 days of where I did not watch television or I was not on social media. And I did that to cleanse my mind, reset it. And let me tell you something, as soon as those 21 days were over, the first week I did good. Okay, all right, I'm still, not on it as much, not watching as much TV. I'm focused. I'm still locked in, right? That second week, I'm like, oh, okay. I want to watch a little bit of TV. I found my series is back on. I want to watch a little bit more. So I was like, okay, Giselle, kind of slipping. The third week came, and I'm like, all right, Giselle, this is enough. But I kept doing it. So you know what I did? I deleted the app that I watch on my television to even watch that series. And I did that because though I have not succeeded what I was doing in January, in the month of love, I was like, okay, I'm gonna be a little lenient. But I saw where I wasn't locked in as much as I wanted to be and where I was in January. But I had to say, okay, Giselle, you're not doing what you said you need to do. So I had to hold myself accountable. But on the grace piece, I said, I need to delete this app and I'm going to try again. I'm human and I got to keep going. And that goes to the next tip. Just try again. Whatever that habit you said you're not going to do, you might have slipped into, empower yourself and you get empowered, you get influenced when you take that step to try again. So that's what I wanted. That's tip number 2 on how you can incorporate empowering yourself into getting back to those habits, getting back to whatever you might have slipped on, right? And then the last thing that I suggest is that you reflect. Reflect on the struggle. Like, what struggles did you have? For me, it was I had things to do, but I felt the comfort. I was comfortable. I was like, okay, well, I've worked hard all day. I'm about to watch. All right, y'all. So we're going to take a quick break in the conversation. I know it's a great conversation, but before we finish the show, I wanted to introduce you all to a new segment. And that segment is the 2Gs. What's the 2Gs? Well, y'all, let me let y'all in on a little secret. That's one of my nicknames. But what the 2Gs stand for are gratitude and grace. I want you to take a moment in this day or when you finish watching the show and reflect on something that you're grateful for, or where do you need to give yourself or somebody grace? Yeah, I wanted to take this and make this a segment and tell you all some areas of where I'm grateful or what I'm thankful for, and also where am I giving myself grace and who do I need to give grace without putting names out there. But yeah, so as we get back in the conversation, if you have not already at the beginning of the show, remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I appreciate y'all. Y'all love, love, love. Let's get back into the show. TV. And to some of y'all might be like, Giselle, that's nothing. Like, you deserve that. But for me, I know my goals and where I'm trying to stay, consistent at. And, it's a struggle for me to, work all day sometimes and come home. And come home and just get back to doing, podcasting or looking up and researching. Sometimes my brain is like on overload. So in this new month, need to find a new way to relax my mind versus just sitting and doing nothing. Now, is television watching and scrolling on social media, it's not too bad. Is it bad? No, but everything must be done in moderation, okay? So for me, that is something, and I wanted to share that with you because as somebody that, loves to influence and help and, give authority to people that they can do things, I have to hold myself accountable, right? So I wanted to give you this example of my own self to let you know, okay, hey, this is where I might need to do better, all right? So what I want you to do is kind of look at, those goals that you might have set for yourself, if you've written it down or if you know in your head. I wrote mine down because for me, I believe when you write it down, you make the vision clear so you can always go back to it. So go back and just say, hey, am I doing what I said? I started back juicing. I took a slip on that, but I also gave myself grace and I reflected, why was it a struggle? And now I'm trying again. I'm empowered by myself after reflecting, after giving myself grace to try again. Okay. So empowerment is an influence. It's giving actualization or influence. Okay. You could give that to yourself or you can give it to somebody else. All right. And I encourage you all, as we're getting ready to spring forward, okay, go ahead and see where and how you can empower yourself to continue in the goals and the habits you set for yourself for 2024. The time is now, y'all. The time is now. We are in the end of the first quarter of 2024. We got this. You got this. And like I said, I wanted to just stop by and just share this message and share this word with y'all because, in the upcoming season, this series of just springing forward, that's what we're going to be talking about. We're talking about empowerment. Next we're going to be talking about everybody's favorite time. I don't know about y'all, but for me, I love spring forward, not only because it doesn't mean G and Gab month is nearing, but it also means longer days. And what does longer days mean? That means we're going to get daylight savings. So we're going to be talking about some tips on how you can prepare for daylight savings because the time is going to move forward. So you're going to lose an hour of sleep. So how can you prepare your mind for that so you're not getting caught in like, oh, I'm so tired and your energy's low. Okay. So we're going to talk about some tips on how you could prepare for that. Okay. Next, we're going to be talking about, we're going to be talking about my birthday, like some reflections. But before that, we're going to be talking about how do you spring clean, and not just your house, but how do you spring clean within your mind, right? 3 months have gone by. How do you want to spring clean your mind and move forward into these next 3 months and next 6 months, right? So we're going to talk about that. I'm going to give tips about how I spring clean, and then also about budgeting. It's good time. It's a good time. We've already been through, 3 months of 2024. What does your budget look like? Is it abundance or is it lacking? How can you correct it? How can you take that step forward and, influence your budget to be better and more abundant in the coming months? So that's what we're going to talk about. And like I said, we're going to talk about so prior to my birthday, we're going to talk about reflections, some things that I've learned in my 20s. What has 20s been for me? What has this decade meant for me? And then lastly, we're going to be talking about, the end, we're going to be talking about how to grow. I have at that point have turned 30 a week from turning 30 when you see that episode. So we're going to be talking about, my thoughts on aging, even though it's not like, oh, I'm scared to get old. No, I am so excited, y'all, to turn 30 because it's a new decade. But we're going to be talking about what this new decade might look like and what I want to accomplish. And we're going to be talking about, how I embrace change and things that I've noticed in my late 20s about going into my 30s. So we're going to talk about that. And, I just wanted to share this with you all because I believe that we're on this together and I want to take you all through my journey. So, because I feel and I believe that, my journey is not just my journey. My journey is, to help others. And I believe that we all play a role in helping each other. So, I want to, as we're still on this theme of empowerment and empower, I want to give you a little story about, a time that I felt empowered, and what empowerment looks like. So I told you how I had to empower myself, but now I want to talk to you about how, something that, it empowered me. It empowered me. And that was simply just the commitment of, reading my word. And, I've always struggled with reading the word. And I'll be honest, there was a time in my life where like, I was like, I'm going to read the Bible just to go to sleep. I said it, and I feel bad because, God's word has so much in it that it's just like, it's really the book of like life to help you on this journey. And, if that's not your religion, I understand, but for me, that's where I'm at. And, for me in this, I learned that, I'm reading specifically at this time, Second Kings. And, and I'll tell you, I'll be honest with you, First Kings and Second Kings, I was just like, oh my goodness, what's going on? Like, okay, they're just telling about the kings. They're telling about the kings of how this person didn't follow the Lord, built idols, and then this person did, but still built idols. And, and I say built idols because that was something that, at first I was just like, it was so like to break it down, it would just be like, this king, he became king and he disgraced the Lord and he made high places. So I was just like, finally I was like, you know what? Let me look into what high places meant. So I took a step forward to try again to make this more relatable to me. And I found out when they said high places, they're meaning they built idols. And God said, don't build idols. And that's where the people kept falling. So if you get a chance to read Second Kings and First Kings, you'll see that they had a repetition of kings after kings after kings, king of Israel, king of Judah, and you'll see that in that context that they just had kings that were not serving the Lord in the way that he said back in First King to Solomon, serve him with all his heart. And instead they're choosing to be king and serve him halfway and then still have idols. What is our idols? That's what it's looking like. Am I serving the Lord and like giving him my heart and like having him in me? But what else am I giving attention to? And see, the thing that I learned from that and what empowered me was like, the way you lead is how people will follow you. And if you become distracted, which people will try to distract you, like, you can't allow that to happen, because when that happens, you're going to allow yourself to become influenced by. Okay? There were a lot of kings in there that God called, but when he called them, they still chose to set high places, which were idols. So what are you making your idol? What is causing you distraction that's not allowing you to keep your goals and your habits that you set at the top of the year, that you want to continue into? And this empowered me, sticking to my word, giving myself grace, and just saying, hey, I'm going to read one chapter a day. Hey, I'm going to research and understand what God is saying in his word, because this Bible that I have right here, I'm going to show it to you. This Bible, it has no back, but I've had this Bible since 12th grade, and I kind of want to go to where I was at. So I read Second Kings, and I highlight stuff, and I write in it. I'm gonna put this down. I need to get it back if y'all want to help me out. But no, but for real, but you know, give yourself grace on wherever you're at, because where you're giving yourself grace on, where you're reflecting on your struggles, and where you're giving that chance to try again at, it will empower you. Okay, it's gonna empower you once you take that step to keep moving forward. And that's what I want to what I wanted this month to start out with, the word empower, because we all can be empowered and we all can empower as well. So as we get ready to go through the rest of this month, spring forward, and talk about aging, talking about budgeting, and just resetting as we get ready to go into the second quarter of the year, I really want us to be empowered that it all lives in us, that we can do it. And the distractions of this world are set there to not allow us to be empowered, and I'm not trying to make this to like, oh, like you can't do this, you can't do that. Everybody's different. You know what is not for you. What's for me is not always for my sister. My sister, and just to break it down, you all know Gabby and I, we're twins, but where she can, be locked in and watch television, that's something I can't do. Gabby gets her creativity in not really gets her to creativity, I'm not gonna say that, but she can work in noise, she can still get her stuff done, and and really be knowledgeable about it. Like, if you ever have a conversation with my sister, you'll see how much she knows about the people that she's watching. But for me, I just lock in and I don't do anything else. So I give that example because, like, not everybody's story and things that they're struggling with is the same. Don't force anybody to do what you're doing, because you don't know what God is calling you to do or what's called for you. So be empowered by yourself, but do it so you can empower others. And that's the message I wanted to give today. And remember to give yourself grace. And if you have not already given yourself grace or taken time to write what you're thankful for, go ahead and do that. Where are you going to give yourself grace? That's the new segment that we have, right? Great. The 2 G's, grace and gratitude. I want you to think about that, because where are you giving yourself grace in the day? Who are you giving grace to? Right? That will always change your perspective and can change your perspective for the day or situation. Where are you giving yourself gratitude? What are you giving gratitude towards? Change it. Don't let life control you. Do this life thing. Do this journey. Life will get you if you let it. But you can do it because only you define your destiny. And I'm so grateful that we had an opportunity just to talk about this as we're going into the next month. I want you to remember to stay empowered. We're going to spring forward. This is the time to just spring forward and go. All right. So until next time, you know I love you. We're on this journey together. And be blessed, be great, and remember, only you define your destiny. Peace, love, and blessings.